you are required to get 4 items of information to the Medicare agency in order to get paid for medical services. Birth date, name, birth date, social security number, and a prognosis. There has been a program on 60 Minutes back in October that showed the number of people who set up a drugstore and got a list of those things that were needed to get reimbursed for a program, send that list, send that reimbursement in, and Medicare had to pay it within 60 days. There wasn't time to verify whether there was such a provider or not. I would propose that there be an additional requirement, and that would be a verified provider number or identification before it can be paid. If not, then it would be returned for completion. That provider number would be the license of the doctor with the state and his type of doctor, so that we could say that he would have his identification from the state. And anything that would be paid on a claim with that provider number would go to his place of residence rather than going to the place where the claim was originated. Now, there would be a number of providers that do not have to be licensed. Quite a few, I don't know why not, but at the same time there might be. These people need to have a process of identification and verification that they are providing a service, and when they do, then they would be given a provider number. It was said in that program on 60 Minutes that only 5% of the reimbursements in the city of Miami at the time that they did the study were legitimate. 95% then was illegitimate and should not have been paid. Obviously, the medical costs are going to go through the roof if it takes 20 times what it actually is supposed to cost instead of paying for the service that actually was given. Now, I've got a number of other things that I'm concerned about, and there's with such a wide range of areas, I think I'd better leave it open to what you are concerned about. What specific areas are y'all concerned about? You'll notice I use the you-alls.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, in the South, they get after you. It's you if I'm talking to you. It's you-all if I'm talking to all of you. It's you-all is plural. Okay.
I was just taking notes on what you said. So.
What's your position on the Second Amendment?
The Second Amendment requires a regulated militia. That means when the Constitution was, the first census after the Constitution was involved, every person was counted by his militia membership, and every person was being part of it. Well, if every person is part of the militia, then everybody should have the right to bear the arms they need to bear. I would say this. We need 2 things that are not currently wanted. One is a voluntary registration that is directed toward returning stolen guns by being able to identify the gun and say that it was his gun that was stolen. And I say that very clearly, voluntary. And the second is we need to have every person in the country capable and knowledgeable about the use of the weapons they have a chance to use. And I think that is a matter of training And for instance, the concealed carry weapons laws already do that. You don't get a concealed carry unless you show that you can use the weapon properly. Okay. Incidentally, I got the questionnaire from the NRA, and those were the only two things I differed with.
Have you read the Constitution and studied it?
In my history, in my Master of Arts in Education, they required us to take one course in American history, and of course the rest of mine was world history. That course was the Federalist period, and we did a mock constitutional convention. The members in the class actually went through the process that the members of the Constitutional Convention went through to determine how it was done. There are some flaws that got into it, like slavery for one. One of the things that got into it was that the state determines the electors, and they vote as a state instead of in the district from which they are selected. And that means that 11 states now have the power to elect the president. The other 39 can sit outside. If those 11 states agree, they have the 271 votes needed to elect the president. And that's why you find that, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Florida, Texas, California absorb almost all of the efforts of the presidential candidates. I was in an antique store in Idaho not long ago. He asked us where we were from. I said, Ohio. He said, well, what does it feel like to have an election for president? Because they did not even know that an election was going on. They only had 4 votes. No president even went to their place. I do have a problem with sometimes people thinking that they have the ability to take care of the whole country when they have only been involved in one area. For instance, Jimmy Carter was from Georgia. All his people were from Georgia. So when California had a problem with water, he had no idea what they were talking about. And that is what happened, that Jimmy Carter was unable to be a good president. We've got a situation where we're a group. We're actually not just one nation, we're a group of nations. But by being a federalist, we can let the local people determine those things that matter to them, and the federal government can take care of those that are involved with everyone.